Good day. Hello, good evening. Welcome to Thfc, the Cockeral Clock podcast. The Kane Saga goes on, and the do-run. Philip, how are you? I mean, this reminds me of Dallas. Every year, the end of Dallas, JR does something to pee everyone off, and we get to his shot. Who shot JR is Harry Kane going to say? It's
I don't know. It's long running. I mean, it's a bit like another thing. Dallas thing was remember Bobby Ewing went into the ship, was supposed to be dead and came back out of the shower one day or something. That's what I reckon Harry Kane will do. We all think he's gone and suddenly he just reappear in the Spurs shirt. They're off on the tour now, so I don't know what's going to happen. We'll have to wait and see. We'll hardly hear anything back. You've done it. You've frozen, have you? Hello. Oops, am I talking to myself here? Someone put a message in the chat there if you can hear me, will you? Thanks. Hello. No, I don't know. Can anyone know you can hear me? Thanks. I don't know what's happened to Dermot. You there?
I'm here.
Yeah, you went missing there for a couple of minutes.
I know. My computer had a big blue screen saying, I need to restart because I'm being temperamental.
You or the computer?
The computer.
Right, okay.
Very funny. Bloody hard.
Yeah, right. Anyway.
Talk about getting a slight dig in there.
Only a slight one.
Very well played, Mr. Brady. Very well played. But anyway, Philip, look, very quickly before we get into the chat, what do you reckon of it all? It's getting ridiculous, isn't it, really?
Well, he's gone on the tour, so that might be a good sign, right? Because if his transfer was imminent, he wouldn't have gone on it. But then again, he's probably the number one attraction in Australia and Singapore and Thailand, so that's why he's gone, you know. I don't know. I just do not know. It's very hard to read it. He might stay. He might go. We're probably going to have to wait now until they're home from the Far East and Australia before we find out now, which should be another 2 weeks.
Oh, don't we love it, though? Do you know, we all get excited.
Yeah. That being said, I mean, you know, there's other things to be done. Like this whole Spurs close season isn't all about Harry Kane.
No,
there's a lot of other things. What's that?
It's overshadowing it, though.
It is, but I mean, we've brought in 3 or 4 new players. We need a couple more, definitely, and those are the ones that are most important, the centre backs. And I'm sure that the transfer department, if there is such a thing at Tottenham, are actually still going to be working during this tour.
Yeah.
So I'd still be hopeful that when the players come back from the Far East, that there is at least 2 new centre backs sitting waiting them at the airport to welcome them home.
Yeah,
because some of the stuff on Twitter tonight now since the plane left has been pretty gruesome.
I haven't seen any of it, Philip.
It's been pretty rough now. It's been rough.
Yeah.
Why have we got no centre backs before the tour? Again, it goes down to signing a player is not just like Football Manager. It takes a lot longer. We discussed it earlier on the program, and Colin had a very good point about the amount of things that have to be ticked, boxes that have to be ticked in the transfer. It's not just the wages, the fee. There's image rights. There's all sorts of stuff. The kind of gear they wear has to be, approved by the club. It's everything, and it takes time. And then the agent's putting the pennyworth in to get an extra few bob out of it. So I just ask people to be patient and to judge this transfer window when we can't buy any more players at the end of it, if we can't, or if we haven't bought any more, which I think we will. And plus, we have to get rid of the deadwood.
Yeah,
so
I think so.
I think Harry, Derek Dyer and the lads now will probably get off the plane in Perth with a for sale sign on their back,
Well, we don't know. That's the problem. We don't know who's for sale, who's not for sale. All we know, we can start with some breaking news, Philip. That Hugo will not be there because Hugo has been told he can go and find himself another club.
Yeah.
And Kane is open to seeing out his contract. So that's a bit of news. But let's see who's in the chat first, Philip. And then we'll get into it because there is a lot to get through. We've got Wembley 1, evening everyone. I still think there's a definite link between Harry Kane's situation, the highly suspiciously easy way to deal, the way the deal for Maddison was completed, utterly un-Levy-like. What do you reckon to that,
Well,
Philip?
I mean, I reckon Maddison wanted to come. And I mean, obviously some clubs are easier to deal with than others. And obviously our price nearly matched what Leicester were looking for him. So that was it. They're not all major 24-month sagas. They can be done quickly when the factors all fall into place.
Carl Simpson, good evening, guys. Everyone in the chat. We've got Kate saying Jessica loves Spurs. Evening chat. Hello, and Philip. I didn't say it. I didn't say it.
Kate, you're on the list. You're on the list.
I purposely didn't say it.
I know. I didn't hear you. Go on.
No, I purposely didn't say it. We've got Lisa from Mexico. Good evening to all your lovely Spurs fans. Andrew Gregory. Good evening, Dermot and Philip. Not an idea. Freeze. They're going around. They can hear you.
I was asking, could they hear me whenever?
Yeah, they couldn't, but not Dermot. I bet my freeze wasn't good. My freeze picture wasn't the best. We can hear you, Philip. We've got Colin. We hear you. It's Dermot's. It's Dermo. That's froze. Yeah, I'm all right now. I'm unfrozen now. Let me get my teeth in.
You're gone again. Will we all wake up and find the whole Enoch rain was a bad dream, and then we're all refreshed from a very long shower? Yeah, I read that one out, Dermot. So
yeah, my internet is now starting to play up.
Oh God, that's the Dallas comparison coming in there.
Yeah. My internet is it's all right now. We've got can you hear me all right, Philip? Though.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't care about the Kane situation now. Just want to get other players through the door. Yeah. That's true. We've got Jim. Hi, Dan, Philip, and my fellow Spurs lovers. Don't look, Dermo. It's not worth it. Don't look, Dermo. It is not worth it. Your blood will boil.
Your blood will boil.
How bad was it, Philip? Seriously, though.
What
that on Twitter?
It was pretty bad, yeah. I mean, there was one guy in particular who I unfollowed because I'm not going to follow any Spurs fan that comes out with language like that. It was like he had a real hate fest on Levy, and it was pretty. I won't mention who it was now, but yeah, there's about 5 or 6 posts, and they've been retweeted hundreds of times. That's the problem. So they're way out there now.
Yeah,
it was just nasty.
Yeah, Andrew Gregory. Hopefully, Dyer and the other Deadwood will go walk about and get lost in the bush.
Yeah, that's true.
Fair enough. I don't really know how to take that.
Surprised that you can't know about things like that. Go on anyway.
Yeah. Anyway, I know. Yeah, yeah. We've got Terry Peels. I can see Levy sticking with the Deadwood. No. And what about this Everton media investment?
We're going to talk about that one.
We are going to talk about that. And I wondered why my followers went down one.
No, Carl, I can assure you it wasn't you. It wasn't you. No. Not unless you've got a very unusual pseudonym.
Now, Philip, where do we start? We start with this. Then we start with Hugo. Hugo has been told he can go and find himself another club. Kane is open out seeing his contract. Now, Hugo, are you surprised, Philip, that he's been left at home? And one of the questions I've got here, I put in, where is it now? Who will be the new Spurs number one, do you think?
Oh, I think it'll be the Venom.
Yeah.
I think that's what he's been bought for. Fraser Foster hasn't gone on the tour due to injury, so I can see only one number one, unless they're going to make Brandon Austin, which I doubt.
Yeah.
So no, it's going to be the new man, and he looked very smiling away getting on the plane today. So he probably knows he's number one. Hugo will be gone by the end of the transfer window, be it to PSG or back to Nice or wherever he wants to go, and he goes, I think, with blessing of every Spurs fan. I know he's had his detractors this season, but overall, the guy has been a legend for us. And I'd like to, wish him the best of luck, and I hope he gets another couple of years at the top before hanging up the boots.
Yeah, I think so. I agree with you on that, Philip. I don't think there's too much really we can say. Look, he's been a great servant, 10 years at the club. We're over 10 years now here at Tottenham. So, look, he's going to be big boots to fill. That is for sure. But I think he should have went a couple of years ago, because I think the last couple of seasons he's been a bit dodgy.
I suppose I think it's sad though to think that his last performance for Tottenham was that absolute horror show at Newcastle.
Yeah,
when I think he pulled an injury at halftime. There wasn't anything wrong with him, but he just couldn't face the second half. That was sad, really sad.
It was sad. Now, Philip, as you can see, there's the Ryanair plane taking all the Spurs team to.
Ryanair don't fly jumbo jets, but apart from that,
yeah. Well, there you go. There's a big Ryanair plane anyway, going to Australia with all the Spurs. Harry Kane hanging out the window with a big sign, "Please buy me," or sell me, or something like that. West Ham, Leicester, and the Lions.
The hello sailors. Hello sailors.
Is there something you want to tell us, Philip?
Well, I saw somebody from Singapore put up a post today about that. He says the standard of Singapore football is absolutely crap, and if you don't demolish that lot, you don't even deserve to be in the Premiership or something to that effect. Yeah.
Now, this is the team, Philip: Austin, Basuma, Davis, Devine, Eric Dyer, Højbjerg, Kane, Keeley, Kulu, Lo Celso, Maddison, Dembele, Perisic, Porro, Reggie, Richarlison, Roden. I'm surprised Roden's going. Christian Romero, Emerson Royal. Any of that in that sort of first bracket, you're surprised that's going?
I thought they might leave Perisic at home if he's looking for a move. I thought they might leave him back. It's nice to see some of the young lads in there, like Josh Keeley and Alfie Devine. Lo Celso, well, I suppose he's another one with a point to prove. Maybe he's another one that can get his future back at Tottenham. Other than that, Roden is there because of the shortage of centre backs, really. Apart from those two, I'm not really that surprised by that first part of the squad.
Yeah,
I mean, Heung-min Son, he's obviously getting an EasyJet flight down from Seoul down to Perth.
Yeah.
Jed Spence, good to see him going.
Tatanga.
Then
you've got Harvey Whiteout, Alfie Whiteman, and Scarlett and Skip are going.
Scarlett and Skip. Let's see now.
And we've got Solomon and Sanchez and Tantanga. So it really is a big squad.
32.
Yeah.
There's two extra injuries. Brian Hill and Troy Parrott are both injured.
This is it here, Philip. I got it here. The people that stand behind the Bentacore because of his knee: Fraser Foster with his back, Brian Hill back, Troy Parrott groin, and Ryan Segerson hamstring, miss out through injury, and all will continue their rehab at Hotspur Way.
Yeah.
So, it's a big squad that's going, Philip.
Well, I mean, there's 1, 2, 3 matches, okay? I think what you'll find is there'll be at least 22 players used in the West Ham game.
Yeah.
There'll be two halves, 2 teams, 2 halves. Probably the same against Leicester.
Yeah.
And then maybe against the Hello Sailor Boys, they might keep a little bit more of a settled team. But I'd say everybody will get pitched game time. Every single player will get game time.
Yeah.
No point bringing them otherwise.
No, there isn't. And look, I think that last game, the Sailor one, I think that will be the game where the youngsters might get their
I think so. They'll probably get and then we come back then and play. We play the home game. The away game to Barcelona, which is quite interesting, and the home game to what do you call them?
Shakhtar Donetsk. Yeah.
Which should be interesting if Spurs still haven't paid any money over for Solomon. And say now, I say Mr. What's we call it, Zelensky, the Ukrainian president, might have a word to say about that.
Also, Celtic are playing
Wolves
in Dublin.
Yeah. I think that's where the rumor about Spurs playing Wolves came out.
Yeah, I think so.
Spurs playing Celtic. So,
I want to say big up to Premier Hotspur TV. He says if this club had any ambition and wants to show Kane they mean business, then back the manager and Kane's ambition.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think though that they have backed him in some ways, Philip. They
have up to a point. Yeah, I mean, let's face it. With more players in this stage of a transfer window than any recent one that I can remember, and so that's fair enough. But the job is not done yet. I mean, it's only it's 2/3 done. I'd say you're 2/3 of the way there. A couple of centre backs in.
I'm seeing a lot of people on Twitter saying, look, it's ridiculous. It's the same thing again. It's all the same narrative that's coming out on Twitter.
Yeah. It's getting a bit monotonous, to be honest with you. We know everyone's frustrated, but you have to have patience. Have to have patience. As I said, if it doesn't happen, then vent your spleen, then start giving out and rattling the sabres. But until until the time runs out to sign players, then give out, but not until then, because a lot can happen in the next. What have we got now? 2 months? No, not 2 months. We've got a month and a half. Month and a half. Left. Yeah. So plenty of time. Plenty of time.
Now, Philip, FC Barcelona are still in talks with Tottenham Hotspur for central defender Longley. If an agreement is not reached by Monday, the player will return to training with Barcelona.
Well, he's returning to training, so
look, for me, I think it'd be a good signing for Spurs as a squad player.
Yeah.
I thought he'd done enough last season to, earn himself a stay. Yeah. Look, he's not everyone's cup of tea. A lot of people are saying that. A lot of people don't agree with me about Longley, but where do you stand in it, Philip? And do you think he would be a good addition to the squad, not as not as a first name in the team sheet, but as a backup?
No, I mean, I don't want him to be the first centre back that we buy either. No. Like if we buy Van der Ven and Tapsoba, right, and then buy Longley as a kind of a stand-in, a backup, then that would be a great bit of business. If we sign him as a number one priority centre back, then that's not good business.
No,
he's a good squad player. He is not a regular first teamer all the time because he's no pace and not great height either. So he's a great man. He's a good man to pass the ball. He's a good ball playing centre back. But we need height and we need pace in that division, and we haven't got it at the moment.
So that leads me to this, Philip. Why has the transfers of new centre backs gone quiet? I mean, it's ridiculously quiet.
Yeah, but it is because we're not okay. Maybe the boys in the press have got fed up making stories. Even they probably realise some of the crap that come out with this. People are laughing at it now, but it's gone quiet for a number of reasons. One, the selling club is digging in for a price that as yet we're unwilling to pay, which is the usual routine. Secondly, there may be agreement done, but there's other things behind the scenes, like we mentioned earlier: image rights, agents' fees. But like Spurs are sponsored by Nike, right? Which means a player coming in who wears Puma or Adidas is gonna have a problem, or they're gonna have to change over their contract. There's things like that can take time. Then you've got the fact that the Harry Kane thing has taken up a lot of time, maybe that shouldn't have. So it's gone quiet, but I don't think it's gone quiet for forever. It'll resuscitate itself in a while. We see that Nelson guy from Galatasaray is pushing hard for a move to Spurs. So I'm not panicking yet. Okay, we'd all love to have a new centre back in before the tour starts. It hasn't happened. It may well happen before they get home, though. Hopefully it will.
Look, we've got Scott Boy Jr. says, I heard Mia saying the deal for... Yeah, well, we did report that yesterday. Now, to be fair, there's been nothing more on it. We haven't heard any more news on that. So I think...
Liverpool is supposed to be interested, but I think they're not. They did not. I don't think they're saying he's a bit too young for them or a bit too early. Next year, maybe they might go for him.
Well, I was hearing the word, but what I'm also hearing now for tonight is that, look, it could go through. It's just a bit of clubs posturing with one another, if you know what I mean.
That's it. I mean, it's who blinks first. I think that's probably the way this is. They know that he's agreed personal terms.
Yeah.
That's not a problem. And once you do that, but that seems to be the case now. That was the same that was done with. Remember, we agreed personal terms with the Brentford goalkeeper,
right?
And we didn't buy him. So
Oh, I'm glad we didn't for the
glad we
money.
didn't
That
buy
was
him, and we got to
ridiculous.
keep her half the price. But no, I mean, it's.
Mm.
I'm sure Daniel Levy will be on the tour, right?
Mm.
But I'm sure he won't leave his mobile phone behind him, and you can
No.
get email anywhere in the world. So things
And
won't stop just because we've gone on tour.
do you think also Paratici will be somewhere in the background, sort of doing his bit of advising?
This false wig and a moustache on him. Yeah, yeah. I'm sure he's doing a bit of consulting. Now he's probably not involved directly in the moves, but he is like he's directing traffic basically and telling them where to go.
Yeah, I think so, Philip. I rarely do. We've got Ellie in the house. Big up Ellie. Says, hey, Dermot and Philip.
Hi,
We've got Jarula saying anti-Ellie in the house.
house.
We've got Carl saying it's just Luverkazen trying to get a bit more. I have heard it's done. I think it's done as well.
We hope
personally.
it is. We hope it is. I mean, it could well be announced before the first match on Tuesday. Could well be.
But
so we'll have to wait and see.
They have to announce these transfers, don't they, Philip, in a certain way and because
isn't it to do with
didn't it used to be with stock markets and you had to announce it first in the stock market?
They had to tell the London stock market first before it could be announced to the public. That's all gone now. But what they do now is before it's announced, they do a promotional video. You've seen the videos with Solomon coming, and that's what's done first. It's all a PR thing now. It's all image and sent out there. It's put on the internet, then it's announced. So
Carl was saying Paratici was in the plane behind the Spurs plane.
They were pulling a glider behind the plane, save on fuel. There's no engine on it.
And then Mr. E says, "Hey Dermatron, an evening, Phil.
Hi, how are you?
Big Mr. E. Every time I say Mr. E, I just think of EE, the phone network in the UK."
Yeah.
And Kevin Bacon, I'm expecting Kevin Bacon just to jump on the stream out.
Oh, yeah, that's right. He's on that. Yeah, he's on that.
Here's a question for you, Philip. What film was he in? What famous film was he in, Kevin Bacon? Not Footloose, but he played a famous person that it happened in the 70s.
God. I've seen him in some TV stuff, but I haven't really seen him in any movie. No, Dom, you've got me there.
Tom Hanks was also in it. The man out of CSI New York was in it as well.
Still none the wiser.
Right, it had to do with space.
No, I'm still definitely none the wiser.
It became before 12 and after 14. It become
Apollo
before
13.
12. That's it.
Right, okay. I've seen that film. I didn't know he was 13. In it, actually. Yeah. Was he one of the astronauts?
Yeah, Tom Hanks played Jim Lovell.
Oh, right, okay.
I don't know if Kevin Bacon was he in the Apollo 13? Do you know what?
I don't know now. I'm beginning to wonder. I think you're raving a bit there. I don't think so.
Oh, I think I am raving. I'm always raving. I always get.
I was going to say I didn't recognize him with his helmet off, but anyway,
was he? No, I don't think he was.
I'll look it up here. You keep.
I'm totally gone loony.
I'll look it up here.
Philip's nodding his head, thinking, "Yeah, that's just Dermot as normal." DJ Samuel, big up with the €2 super chat. It's this great live stream as always. Well, look, thank you very much. It's very kind. Look, I can't do this without Philip and Ellie and Mia. Today I left him in the lurch.
You're not raving, Dermot. He was in it. Kevin Bacon was in Apollo 13.
Who did he play?
I'm just reading it here now. He played Jack Swigert.
Yeah,
was he the guy? He was the guy on the ground, wasn't he?
Yeah, no, he replaced the.
Swigert. No, he was an astronaut. Yeah.
Yeah, he replaced the astronaut that thought they had measles,
That's right,
and they wouldn't let him up into space because they thought he might give the measles to the other two, but he didn't end up having. And he's the one that pressed the button, to stir the oxygen tanks that actually blew.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it was Ed Harris played Gene Kranz. He was the guy on the ground. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, back to the football.
Back to the football. There you go. I'm glad I'm not going mad, Philip. Thank you for that.
No,
look,
right.
I left him in the lurch today, and I do apologise for leaving them in the lurch. I really do, and it wasn't fair on them. But so I apologise to Philip, Mia, and Ellie. I really do. It wasn't fair, but look, we're a team here, and we all do our best. And look, it's not just me. Philip as well does his bits. Ellie and Mia as well do their bits. So thank you so much. We all work hard to bring you the best streams we can, and Do you want to say anything to DJ Samuel, Philip?
Yeah, thanks, DJ Samuel. Thanks for the great live stream. Well, we do our best, as Dermot said there. We might not always get it right, but one thing you can be sure of on this, there's never a dull moment. We're always just sparking off each other or saying something we shouldn't, and hope we get away with it.
And don't worry, we'll be showing more Gardaí after Pochine again.
Oh yes, indeed, absolutely.
I tell you, I do love them, Philip. They're the best ones for me.
Funny,
They're the funny ones.
Funny.
We've got I Wish May, and then we've got Ellie. Thanks, DJ Samuel. Big up, Ellie. And Carl Simpson. Have faith, Terry. Is too early to get down.
Yeah, it is. And let's face it, we're only the 14th of July.
Mm.
The first game isn't for nearly a month.
Kevin Bacon was the alien on the moon.
Yeah. On the way back. It stopped off on the moon on the way back, yeah.
Do you know what? There's actually Buzz Aldrin said that they did something on the way to the moon, apparently. Now he's come out and said it. Apparently they saw something on a UFO.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
And that was ET going home. That's what they saw.
Probably. Yeah, probably.
We've got Jim says Murder in the First was his best film.
Mm-hmm. Don't remember that one though.
No, neither do I. Yes, he was in Apollo 13. I love that film. It's one of my favourite films. Mystery says, why are Tottenham in such deep discussions about Longley? He's okay, hardly the saving grace for partnering Romero. He's an upgrade in Ben Davies, but hardly worth all this. Well, look, we didn't watch long to the Crystal Palace game, and I always go back to this. That defence was solid, Philip, wasn't it? Though it was probably the most boring match we have ever watched in our lives. We ended up talking about other stuff than the football at one point. But he did keep that defence was solid. And then as soon as he came off, Dyer came on, we nearly conceded.
Yeah, I know.
So
I honestly think that a lot of the play on the PR on this transfer is coming from the Barcelona side. Because they want rid of him, because there's big money over there and they want to trim their wage bill. So I think that's what it was. And what's Carl saying? This is why I thought you couldn't come on, Dermot. I thought the Guardian raided you for illegal. Carl, how did you find that out? Carl, that's supposed to be a secret. We're not supposed to know about that.
I know. Philip's the middleman. What are you on about?
Dermot's not sitting on a chair at the minute. He's sitting on the barrel of Pochine.
Yeah. Yeah. And Philip's the middleman, and we send it all over to Ellie.
Yeah, and Ellie's a distributor. She sells it down the high road on match days.
Yeah, she does. Actually, I've got a question for Ellie. Question 2 for her to become an Irish citizen. Right? Question number 2, Ellie, I know she's watching. Can you name me the year the Doyle had its first meeting?
I don't know that.
You put in the private chat, Philip, what you think that the answer is.
Yeah, okay.
But
Ellie, she'll go in and see it then, won't she?
Ellie, she'll Google it. Of course you Google it. We all know you can't Google. But there you go.
Well, I don't know that. I don't know. I mean, she goes down the high road selling the Pochine, and she says it's holy water, which to Irish people it is.
Yeah, it is. I put the answer in the private chat for you, Philip.
Oh, was it? All right.
Yeah, murder.
Oh, yeah. Do you know? I'm thinking after the Civil War. That's where I was. That's where I was going. Yeah.
No. It was after. It was on the same day as the War of Independence broke out.
Ah, right. Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
And old Dev was in prison in England, and where was it? It was in the Mansion House. Yeah. That was the first Doyle meeting in the Mansion House. Carl's going for 1920. Well, we were a free state by then.
Yeah. Well, the story behind your cousin Michael Collins' story, the day that the British relinquished power in England and Ireland was absolutely brilliant. Said the takeover was at 1 o'clock, and all these soldiers were lined up with the pomp and ceremony and the brass bands and everything. You know, Michael Collins didn't turn up till 1:45, and the British ambassador said, "Mr. Collins, it's very remiss of you to be late on such an auspicious occasion as this." To which Michael Collins said, "Listen, you kept us waiting for 700 years. 45 minutes won't do you any harm." That's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
I tell you, I must admit, Philip, very quickly, we'll go back to the football. He was some man to ride around on a bicycle, £10,000 on his head.
And nobody had a photograph of him, didn't know what he looked like.
No.
That's why.
No.
Yeah, amazing.
There was.
And you know that in his grave in Glasnevin Cemetery, every week since God knows when, fresh flowers are put on his grave by some woman from France. Did you ever hear that story? You go to Michael Collins' grave. I've been there a few times. There's always a fresh bouquet of flowers on his grave.
Do you know what? I always said if he was alive, how would Ireland would have been a different country if he
He would have been a brilliant leader. He really would.
statesman, yeah.
He was ruthless. He was ruthless.
Well, you had to be.
He got things done. He really did.
Yeah. Yeah. Wish he was in charge of Tottenham. He would have got things done. Anyway.
I'll tell you, with a Van de Ven signed long ago.
You would have done. Anyway, this is the latest I'm hearing. Being told if Spurs put up 30 to 40 million euros for Mickey Van de Ven, he could be signed and announced within days.
Go 30 million. He's only worth 30 million.
Yes. That is the very, very latest we're hearing. So that is a bit of breaking news for you.
Mm-hmm. He wants to come. That's a big thing. He wants to come.
Andrew Gregory, spot on.
Spot on, yeah.
Carl Simpson's gone for 1920. Oh, no,
yeah, you're going the wrong way, Carl.
Yeah. So let us know, Ellie. Jim, if you've not seen Murder in the First, you have to watch it. Okay, grand.
Mm-hmm.
Premier Sports TV says, why can't we get our main business done before pre-season kicks off so we'll be ready for the season to kick off, guys? It isn't as simple as that, is it?
No, it's not. And look at the other teams. There's very few of the other teams who've got their business done yet. I know Arsenal have been splashing out money to anyone they can. They're looking up players in the phone book and buying them nearly. But Liverpool haven't bought them. They've only bought a couple of players. Man United, yes, have bought nobody. So there's a lot of teams have yet got to do the business done. So it would be great to have it done, but it's not, and we'll just have to accept that.
Just ask the question, Philip. Do you think it's the clubs haven't got the money like they did last year?
I don't know. I mean, I'm sure they've all got their Sky. They get the Sky money, and the teams that are in Europe would have got the European money. And I saw somewhere today that Spurs were after getting, I think, 2.7 million or 2.8 million from the World Cup. Now, how that was worked out, I don't know. But that's an extra few bob for us,
Yeah. Now, we've got this one. Dusan Tadic's agent has been in touch with Spurs over a transfer. He has left Ajax with immediate effect and after a formal request. Now, Philip, you've done a little bit of digging on this man. He's 35 years old, isn't he? Now
he's 35 in November.
It's a bit old. Come on.
Maybe he's looking for Doris's job. Maybe he's looking for Doris's job.
Maybe.
I mean, I know if Daniel Levy, say we sold Kane, and Daniel Levy brought in Dusan Tadic as a replacement, I would not like to be on Twitter for the next couple of weeks after that.
I'd come off Twitter.
Yeah, it'd be dangerous. I mean, no, he can't. Yeah. I mean, that's Tadic's agent trying to tout him around. He's probably been in contact with 20 other clubs as well, and just decided Spurs are one of them. He played against us in 1919 in the 1919 on the brain there, 2019 in the cup in the Champions League semi-final.
Yeah, he
did. Ajax. Yeah.
We all know what happened that night. Night. It wasn't that for us.
That.
Yeah.
Do you know where I was that night? I'll tell you a quick story about that. I'd been in Liverpool that morning. I'd flown in for a funeral of a friend of mine that died, and we were going around Liverpool. We got to Liverpool at 10 o'clock in the morning. They'd have to beaten Barcelona the night before to get to the final. Remember the 4-0?
Yeah.
The pubs were still going strong at 10 o'clock the next morning, right? Everybody was going down the street half pissed. And those that weren't, that were still with the Liverpool shirts on. It was amazing. But then we went down to Birmingham to visit, say, with friends, and we're having dinner, watching the Spurs game. And Spurs went 2-0 down. And I said, this is it. Switch off the telly. I don't want to see it, Then they got one back. I said, bit interesting. Sitting on the couch when he went, and they got the second goal. And then when the winner went in, I actually did a knee slide across the floor. Nearly ended up going through their patio door. I'm still getting slagged about it, It was just one of them nights you never forget.
Yeah, I tell you where I was that night. David had to go to hospital, and she wanted something to eat, so I went to McDonald's to get something both to eat. She was in A&E, and I had this Aldi bag, so I had the McDonald's within the Aldi bag, right?
Yeah.
And bringing it in, there was this Liverpool fan in the corner watching the game, and I said, "What's the score?" And he looked at me. He says, "You're in the final," and I didn't believe him. I said, you're pulling my leg here.
Yeah.
And I actually went out, done the field, came out again. I said, are you kidding me? And he showed me, and Tottenham were in the final. I couldn't believe it.
It was unbelievable, wasn't it?
It was like a feeling I've never had before. It was like, I've seen us get the cup finals, Philip, and you're excited, right?
Yeah.
But a Champions League final is just, I don't know. It's
It was incredible. It was.
It was.
Especially,
And
that means Silva coming back from the dead. You know, that was...
Yeah. And I was so confident we were going to win, that our name was on the cup. And
Yeah. Well,
and
I think that was the start of Poch's downfall, that game. He should not have played Harry Kane. That was just crazy.
I mean, we will actually go through that final and actually do have a discussion on that, because I think there's lessons to be learned from that final on what should have happened.
I find it very hard to look at anything in that final. It's like the 1987 Cup final. I just cannot bring myself to watch it. It's just a sore point, really. You know,
it is.
But anyway, onto a club that's even worse off than we are.
Yeah, Everton. Now, we had the news from Dele Alli yesterday, and may I say, look, best of luck to Dele Alli. I'm sure he'll come back fitter. And fair play to Everton as well for sticking by him. And
Sean Dyche deserves a lot of credit. He really does.
Can you very quickly, Philip? Can you see him being a big factor in Everton this season?
I hope he does. Now, Everton are never going to be more than a mid-table team, no matter who they have. But I would love to see Dele Alli rehabilitate himself and have a really, really good season. And because I know that and let's face it, when we had him, we adored him. We thought he was the best thing since the last best thing. Yeah. And he was brilliant. And I've seen his goal against Crystal Palace again today. When we flicked the ball over his own head and hit it on the volley. I mean, that was just sublime. 2 goals against Chelsea. First time we've beaten him in a long time. Remember, it was great. But I really wish the guy well. I really do. Yeah. And fair dues to him for coming out with that. It wasn't easy.
Yeah. I've always had a soft spot for Everton, actually, to be fair. I really have.
I like Everton. I always think Everton are a very well-run family club. Okay, some of their dealings recently have been pathetic, but it shows you that the money how tight they are for money when a 38-year-old is going there as one of their signings. Actually young.
Everton, and Mr. E says Everton are really talking last season seriously, aren't they? Getting it over the hill actually long. We think we've got problems with our chairman. I mean, they've really got problems. I mean, their chairman couldn't even go to the last game of the season.
That's right. So the whole board was warned not to go near the matches from early on in the season. You know.
And then Carl saying they can get Dele back to his best. He will be quality. He will be, and we'll get a few quid out of it as well.
Well, he's another 8 matches to play, 7 or 8 more league games, and we get 10 million.
Yeah,
which means they'll probably transfer him when he's played 19.
Kevin Bacon, he'll be bringing home the bacon on the mobile company's advert.
He does. Making a fortune on that thing.
He is. Colin Turner, big up Colin, says Ange will assess the squad in Australia, decide who needs to go and who stays. Then we will see movement. Although I'm surprised he took players that we all want out, like Sanchez, Rodon, Tantanga. So, why do you think he bought them? Do you think he just bought them just to get them on the shop window?
Well, because if he didn't bring them, we'd only have Eric Dyer and Romero as recognised centre half. Yeah. That's why he's brought them. It's just to make up the numbers, basically. Plus, you'd have a look at them. I mean, he could surprise us by keeping one of them, or 2 of them even. He might see them as good squad players, you know? I mean, that's one thing we can never second guess Ange. We don't really know yet what his thinking is for keeping who and who he's going. So it's when the tour is over, that's when we'll really know who impressed and who didn't.
Yeah, that's so true, Philip. Look, we've got Sanchez. Look, for me, I think he has to bring them, because there's no point leaving them back there, because if we get an injury and we don't bring enough defenders with us, you know, and it is a long way to go. It is. Everyone has to get. It's a big squad, isn't it, these days, that teams have to bring around everywhere. Yeah, and we've got 3 games, so you know. Hopefully it's enough. Sanchez could be going to Turkey, you think, anyway, isn't it? Turkey, Germany.
Or Holland or Russia. He's got quite a few options at the moment.
Yeah. Ellie's saying, I haven't got a clue, but I know Robbie Keane scored 122 goals for us. What do you reckon? Should we let her have that one?
I think we let her have. Robbie Keane's he's an honorary Irishman. He's a good Irishman.
Okay, then. There you go. There's you got 2 questions right, Ellie. The last one.
In the post.
No, 1 more to go. She's got to get 3 right, and then she'll go towards Colin, our passport control officer, and then she'll get her passport. Premier Sport Hotspot TV. I don't know what you think, guys, but we've got to keep Kane if you want to win trophies, because he is the big pull for new players coming to the club. So you just need to show big ambition. But the problem is, Philip, look, I keep going back to this. Now, I got the Kane latest news here. I'll bring it up. And look, it's Kane. Let me just take that off. It's Kane's Kane transfer news. The latest here is that Bayern now, Philip, have offered €95 million for Kane. Unconfirmed sources are saying next week could be an important time. And
Still
then
not enough. Still not enough.
and then in a desperate bid to convince him to sign the new deal, Spurs are willing to offer Harry Kane a job once he retires from playing. I don't know what job he'd be offered.
Doris.
Probably playing. Daniel wants to build his guaranteed into a fresh new offer to Kane in the hope the striker decides to stay. And the last bit of news is Harry Kane will reportedly not push to leave Tottenham this summer, but would consider a move either now or when his contract runs out. So look, that last bit, Philip, does that mean he's not really going to sign this new contract?
I don't know.
Wait.
I don't know. I mean, that I would say that should be another option that should put in there. He may sign the contract, but I think what he's trying to do is he's showing his respect for Spurs by not throwing his toys out of the pram. Not this time, anyway. Not yet, anyway. So I think that offer you mentioned of 81 million, that won't be accepted. Not a hope. No. So it's either Bayern Munich either up their offer. I reckon they offer 100 million, then Levy has to sell. But if he doesn't, Harry better look at his options. Is the grass greener on the other side, or is he better off staying where he is? And
what do you know? Do you think clubs do they work in euros, Philip, or pounds?
The English clubs work in pounds, and most of the rest of Europe work in euros. Why would they? It's their currency. But when you convert it, Levy will be working in pounds. You know, if he gets an offer of 100 million, he must clarify whether that's euros or sterling. If it's sterling, he won't refuse it. If it's euros, he will.
Yeah, well,
100 euros is about 84 million sterling.
So he's got a lot. He's got a big decision to make, hasn't he? This next week.
Well, I'd say now wherever the stopover is on the way to Perth, I'd say when he switches on his phone tomorrow morning, there might be some offers in there from Bayern Munich that he has to make a decision on.
And he did have breakfast with the Bayern Munich chairman there during the week as well.
Probably made them pay for it as well.
Ellie's, we've got a few comments here, Philip. Ellie's last question is, when was I born? So there you go. We've got Premier Hospital says, and I think Madison wouldn't have signed if he knew Kane was going. What's your thoughts on that guy? I think Madison would have signed regardless if Kane was staying or going, to be fair.
Well, if the option was playing in the championship with Leicester, I'd say. I think he was always coming to Spurs because his girlfriend, who's had the babies now, didn't want to go to Newcastle. And that's where family come into it. And don't forget, Harry Kane has a big family stake here in England. Yeah. 3 kids, another one on the way, and building a house. So that's got to be taken into consideration as well. If he can silence that idiot brother of his,
that's what I was going to say.
And listen to his wife, he might not go anywhere. Is it
more him? Is it more the brother than Harry Kane?
Yeah, I think so. He was pushing for it the last time, so I would say he is pushing for him.
We've got Ellie saying, I can name 6 best Irish players who played for us: Pat Jennings, Danny Blanchflower, Chris Houghton, Tony Galvin, Robbie Keane, and Joe Kinnear. Jerry Armstrong.
Jerry Armstrong was there, and
who else?
Jimmy Holmes, the fullback. He was good as well.
He was. Stephen Carr.
Gary Doherty.
Stephen Carr.
Stephen Carr.
There we go. Even dangerous names. Stephen Carr, great back for Spurs back in the day.
He was good. A goal he scored against United was cracker.
And also, I know where the Guinness factory is. I love the Guinness. My sister-in-law, born in Kerry. I've seen Philip play the drums at Darky Kelly's, and surely gets me Irish citizenship. I'm sorry, Ellie.
She's trying hard now. You got to admit,
she is trying hard.
Yeah.
Well, look, we'll put you over to Column. We'll put your application into Column. Column, let us know if Ellie is guaranteed. Or do you know? We'll have to see now. You never know. Before the end of the stream, Ellie could be an honorary Irish citizen. So we have to see. Now, this bit of news, Philip. I'm going a bit off Tottenham, but onto the Premier League itself. Luton Town's first Premier League home game postponed over stadium uncertainty. Now, is that because of the house they have to go through to get to one of the stands? It's away on holiday that week.
I think your man is objective. There's more people coming through his living room than usual.
Yeah, no, I heard he's away on holiday for a couple of weeks, so they can't.
No, in all seriousness, no. I think there's the structural things have to be done on the ground. I don't think it affects the end. Maybe it does affect the entrance, but that's the away fans' entrance, isn't it, to the house? Yeah. I saw a picture of the ground there. There's a lot of work going on one side of the ground. So, but I remember it's not surprised because as it stands at the minute, the ground is just not up to. But then again, that worries me a little bit. If it's safety, they're worried about, right? How come it's okay for them to be in the Championship but not in the Premiership?
I know.
Do you know what I mean? The FA regarding fans of the Premiership as we don't give a shit about the ones in the Championship. They can go to hell, but we have to look after our friends in the Premiership.
I went there once, Philip, to Luton's ground. It's the most bizarre ground I've ever been to, honest to God.
Yeah.
But Mystery says, so go on, Philip. Go on.
There was another thing about Luton as well. I saw in the paper yesterday. It's probably it's regarded as one of the worst towns to live in the UK. Now I don't know. I've never been in the place. I don't know. But I thought that's strange. You know, the record was one of the least desirable places to go and live in.
Well, I remember as a kid going to Luton was full of Irish people. It really was. There was loads of Irish families, pubs, and then they all moved to Bedford.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if anyone was to chuck a nuclear weapon at the UK, God forbid they don't, head it to Luton. That was always the same when I was growing up. So,
right. Well, you used to say if an atom bomb hit Luton, it would do £15 worth of damage.
Yeah. I have to admit, Luton. Luton's like going into anywhere in Dublin. Where can I say now?
Nowhere in Dublin. It's like
the North Strand.
Yeah,
around an airport and there's nothing else there.
Yeah, exactly. There you
go. With no offense to anybody living in near Luton.
No offense to any Luton, but I've been in Luton. I've been in Luton loads of times. But no, it is a dump of a place. I must admit. I'm Colin.
That's a good one.
Yeah, but no offense to anyone, Luton. But anyway, good luck to Luton in the Premier League.
I tell you, I would not be a bit surprised if Luton surprised a few teams.
Well, we all know, Philip. David Pleat knows Luton quite well. He keeps breaking down there a few times, asking for the AA and the
curbs in Luton. He keeps hitting the curbs, isn't it?
I know. Well, we never know why. You think all the tyres he's bursting for hitting? Probably
it must be the lane assist on his car switched on.
It must be
the curb.
Yeah. And it's a dodgy fuel because he goes slow as well. His car's like concrete.
Well, that's because he put diesel into a petrol car.
That was it. See, should have told him that, Philip.
Yeah,
we should have told him. It's you and me are going to get so
get slapped over that.
We will. Yeah. If he does send us a writ, Philip, we'll send it to Ellie.
That's right. Yeah, she started it.
Yeah, she started. She'll be coming on in a minute, giving out to the pair of us. Anyway, we've got Colin saying it's so the homeowners have enough time to get enough tea biscuits in for the Prem crowds. But it is the most bizarre stadium I've ever been to. I mean, you walk through somebody's house near enough.
Yeah,
it really is. Ellie saying I've been kissed passionately by Chris Houghton. Too surely to come on that. Well, there you go.
We have to investigate that further, Ellie.
We will. If Ellie sings Darcy Riley, she's in.
Or the Fields of Athenry.
Yeah, that's it. Or the Royal Rover. There, another one. Yeah. Ellie, are you serious?
Postcard, please.
Yeah. Ellie, I'm not sure how you figured that out. Stephen Carr was also a defender, made more appearances and scored more goals. Enough said.
Yeah, he was a good player.
He was good play for us as well, Philip. To be fair, over the years. Yeah. Now, tomorrow night. We're going to leave the Harry Kane thing because we're absolutely sick to death of Harry Kane.
Yeah.
Now, Philip, look, tomorrow night we're going to be talking about this. I don't know who's going to come on. I think it's just going to be you and me, but we may be bringing somebody else on as well. But look, me and Philip have had a bit of a disagreement over this. Now, Philip wants now. This may surprise a few people. Philip wants Liberty Media to take over Spurs, but I want Qatar. Now, I'm a massive Formula One fan, and I know what they've done for Formula One, and a lot of their business things they've done made sense. But I just don't think I just think the Qatari with the money and what they've, they throw billions at it. Now, Philip, why do you want Liberty to take over Spurs if they did instead of Qatar without giving too much away about tomorrow night?
I think I'm basing my preference on the way that they have revolutionized Formula One. Now, you know that better than I do.
Yeah.
As an avid watcher, I'm a sort of a sideways watcher. I watch it now and again when it's on. But I've seen the way they've improved the safety record. I've seen the way that they've brought on young drivers. Well, all the teams do that, but it's not the same old name. Well, it is the same old name as winner, but there's a lot of new drivers coming on. The amount of money they're generating from the crowds at the Formula One. I mean, 160,000 at Silverstone last week for the British Grand Prix. They've got an eye for an event, and that's why I think they would make very, very good use of the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium off season and during weeks that we're not at home by having rock concerts, boxing matches, whatever you want to have yourself, American football. So I think they would appreciate the fact that the ground is suitable for a lot more stuff than soccer. Now, I know a lot of fans don't like the extracurricular activity, but I think if a team like Liberty or a company like Liberty took over, they would invest that money wisely in the team, and it can only be good for the Spurs.
Do you also think? Look, I do partially agree with you about Liberty, Philip, and I know what they've done for Formula One, and they've made the show better. They've made it better. Look, for me though, would they be too interested in non-football activities where the Qataris they'll want to make Tottenham the best team on the pitch, the best team in the world, and give the manager just buy whoever you want, buy Mbappe and buy all the big players in and make us great? Or do you want that, or do you think Liberty would be? I know what your thoughts on the Qataris and people like that.
Well, I'm leaving that to one side for now.
Yeah.
I'm leaving that to one side. The thing about Jimmy, do you not think that the Qataris are not looking at the potential that stadium has to make other money outside football? Of course they are. Both those owners, I can guarantee you, would have American football, which earns a fortune for the club, and they'd have the likes of Lady Gaga, Guns N' Roses, whatever, Daniel O'Donnell, whatever you want, playing there regularly. They would both do that. So both of them, you don't buy a place and then not utilize it to its full potential, and that's why I think the Liberty guys too would also have the edge, and they'd have the contacts in America.
Yeah,
whereas the Qataris, by their reputation, might not just be as open to, like the things that the Liberty would put on that the Qataris wouldn't, for ethical reasons, religious reasons, or whatever. So, but again, we'll discuss that tomorrow night, and we'll go through it and see.
You may convince me, Philip. You may well do. At the end of the day, you may convince me, or I may convince you. It is going to be a lively debate. But look, I do like what Liberty have done with Formula One, but I just feel I've just seen what Ellie's put in the chat to Colin. It is funny.
Open to a bribe. Oh, lovely.
I just saw that.
Lovely.
I just saw that.
But
Sorry.
of course, Dermot, this all becomes irrelevant because there's a certain gentleman whose name begins in L has to decide to sell. And also to agree a price.
This is the other point.
That's the other thing,
That's the other point of the debate as well. Will he sell? And we all know, look, we'll get into it tomorrow night, but I think it's a discussion that's worth having, Philip, to be fair.
It is, because it may or may not be relevant by the time, it may come to pass, it may not, but at least we'll all have I tell you, if it does come to pass, we'll know a good bit about the new owners. That's one good thing.
AM says, I want Liberty. I think they would probably create a holding company and bring in some other investors with track record in sport. Now, one thing I know about Liberty, and one thing I will give them credit for, when they took over Formula One, they put Formula One people in charge of Formula One.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm here while I think what might happen if Liberty were to come in, they would put Spurs people in charge of Tottenham. They're not like an Enoch they're not like an Enoch or a Levy where they are an investment company, but they want to make it work.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And by making it work, that means buying the best players, making the team the best on the pitch to gain more money back off what you win. So, do you know what I mean? But I just feel the Qataris might be better. But look, it's an argument or not an argument.
It's going to be irrelevant if they can't agree a price with Levy and he agrees to sell, or else he may look to keep a 20% stake and have a say in the club still, which none of us really want. We want a clean break.
Yeah,
you know, because the Manchester United thing is dragging on forever.
But see, that's the thing, isn't it? That whoever doesn't get United then comes down to look at us.
Yeah. Yeah, unless they go to West Ham, but I think Spurs are a much more attractive proposition because you buy West Ham, you're only buying a rented stadium. You're not buying real estate. You're buying a team, but you're not buying the property that they play in, and that's a big disadvantage. Okay, they'd be cheaper, but that's about the only thing I can say about West Ham. Cheaper.
Yeah, it is. Ellie's saying, Postecoglou, a Greek in charge of Spurs, I never thought I'd see the day, but my mate Paul, Hotspur hippie, did it for the Aussie Yanange too. Yeah. Big up, Ellie. We've got Mr. Rees is trying to get the Silverstone to watch races, though, unless you own or hire a chopper, every day is chaos.
The traffic must be serious. 160,000 people. Oh boy. The car park can make a fortune alone.
Yeah, they will. Been to watch the 1988, 2000, 2003 British Grand Prix, and it was the same each time.
Big changes since then, though.
Yeah, there is. FTSM column, are you open to a bribe?
LA.
Dara says, I'd take Ronaldo McDonald if he will buy some players. Colin was saying, oh dear, bribing an official. And this is not helping your case, Ellie.
No, I'd say the what you call it, the foreign office or the foreign affairs people are watching this already, you know.
Well, mind you, if she's anything like Charlie Harty, she'd probably get away with it.
Well, maybe.
Yeah, you know, that man got away with it for years, whatever he got up to. Jamie O'Hara on TalkSport going into Spurs for never have a plan.
Yeah, well, listen, you know, they can argue till the cows come home, but there's obviously some sort of a plan. Maybe Jamie O'Hara just doesn't like what he's heard. I don't know.
No.
And there's a good point there that Ed has brought up there at the bottom, Dermot. Before we finish, must bring it up, and it's very pertinent.
Yeah.
The days of stay. I'm becoming a Spurs fan. This one here.
Yeah.
You go to
Qatari, and NFL will never give the franchise to Tottenham.
Yeah. Because Americans are not too friendly with the Qatar. There's a lot of distrust between America and Qatar. That's a very, very good point. And let's face it, take the NFL out of that game. We've got a redundant pitch underneath the soccer pitch or above the soccer pitch.
Yeah, that's so true. But they also own Liberty are owners of the baseball team over in America as well.
They own lots of stuff, yeah. But Colin Turner says we're primed for an American takeover, not Arab.
Yeah. We are. That's true. Come on. Ellie says, look, I did the whole World Cup showing the girls in green. Come on, Colin. Surely I've kissed the Blarney Stone. My God, come on. Oh, well, we'll wait for Colin to come back.
Right, we'll continue this tomorrow night, Dermot.
Yeah, we will. And then I'm starting a poll in the chat based on all my answers. Do I deserve the Irish citizenship? Well, I'll tell you what, we will give you the answer to that tomorrow.
We'll give it tomorrow night.
Yeah, but Philip, I just want to end off on this. As Tottenham fly off to Australia, this is the local kangaroo waiting for Højbjerg when he gets to the airport. Now,
I can't figure out where the kangaroo came from, but anyway, come on.
I don't know where the kangaroo came from. I just thought it was funny in my head anyway. I don't know. But on that bombshell,
we shall leave it at that.
We should leave it at that. Thank you so much for watching the Cockeral Clock podcast.
Got it right. You got it right.
I got it right. Yeah. Do you know what? And Carl did not put one thing in the chat. But listen, we'll let
Carl,
you go.
You're slipping.
Yeah, you're slipping. We're back tomorrow. What time are we on tomorrow, Philip?
9 o'clock, I think.
9 o'clock.
Yeah.
We're back on tomorrow at 9 with the debate show. Me and Philip, and I think I see who else to join us on the debate. Who would you like to see take over if ENIC were to put Tottenham up for sale? The Qataris or Liberty Media? We're going to have a discussion on that. Whatever you do, enjoy the rest of your Friday evening. Come on, you Spurs.
Come
in
on, you
that we
Spurs.
trust.
Indeed.